What's up, fam? I'm getting this video out a whole lot later than I anticipated, so I'm gonna kind of rush through this one. But first off, I want to apologize for the sound quality of my last video. I really don't know what happened. I'm just kind of getting all this stuff set up. I'm getting kind of familiar with it. Uh, it really made no sense for that to happen the way that it did, and I regret that I'm unable to go back and review and edit my films, my videos. But at the same time, like, I mean, it's tough to squeeze in just recording the videos, and to me, it's the most important thing is to just get some get some good information out there. And if it isn't as professional as I would like it or somebody else would like it, then that's fine. um I just want to apologize. This one should be a lot better uh going forward. Hopefully, I have that problem fixed, and but I guess we'll just gonna have to see on that. All right, so moving right into this. Today really showed me a lot. Um, I've got my targets picked out. There's actually three important targets that I'm looking for. Two in particular, but depending on one of those two, I've got my target for the third. All right, because there's two different scenarios I could see playing out, depending on when we hit a certain pivot level, which I will talk about kind of close to the beginning of this video, as a matter of fact. So I just kind of wanted to reiterate, I'm not going to go back over this whole uh, structure again. And oh, so this is the first time I'm actually doing like a side by side of it. I was thinking about it today, and I thought it kind of made more sense to actually kind of show you the past structure and the current structure right there next to each other, as opposed to just a fractal. Let me know what y'all think about me doing it this way. So I'm not really gonna go back and uh, compare this entire downtrend again, but I just wanted to kind of start right here and uh, reestablish the importance of this, right? So we hit this level, we come down, come down deep, we retrace high, we hit this little consolidation phase. We had these two high points right here, boom, boom. Look right here, consolidation phase, two high points, boom, boom. And then we come round off and we drop. Not once, twice, right? So A, B, C correction. A, B, C correction. Um, the similarities just they just keep presenting themselves. I just keep seeing more and more each time, and as I mentioned yesterday, like about the skepticism, and there's more and more of it, and that's okay. I am perfectly okay with that. I don't want you to be dependent on me for sure. Uh, and I really am not offering you any advice. I'm displaying uh TA, and I'm just giving you my opinion on it to compare with yours or Milner's or Kenobi or whoever. Uh, you can just kind of compare where I'm seeing the charts at to what they're seeing the news at or the fundamentals at, right? That's all there really is to it. Um. Anyways, the the first thing, this is what I'm favoring. Okay, so this is what I think it is, and there's another possibility, but this is kind of what I'm expecting to happen here. You know, we talked about the stutter in the last video, and I didn't know the Fibonacci relationship between the two, and I was excited to actually today go through and try to figure that out, not knowing that it was actually going to give me way more information than I had expected. Well, right off we can see, so from pulling it from this low, just like, all right, we pulled it from this low. Couple things really kind of stand out to me. As we're coming down, right, we bounce off the 382, we're testing the 385. All of a sudden, you can see right there, let me just go ahead and zoom in. It starts becoming some resistance. We can't break that resistance, so we've got to find a new support. You know, we was testing support here and resistance here, both at the same time, so that weakened this support line. We couldn't break through this resistance, so we had to find a new support line. And that's kind of what happened here, and kind of what continued to happen for a couple levels before we actually took off. But you can see above the 0.5 had been tested as support, right? Below the 0.5 had been tested as resistance. Couldn't break it, so now we just shot straight past it. Boom. So now we're testing it as support again, which makes sense. The last test was resistance, so the next test needs to be support. Twice over a few hour time span, sufficient enough. We don't have to worry about it. This was the resistance level here. We tested it, good to go. Don't have to worry about it anymore. But we didn't test this. You know, so we tested this resistance, but we didn't test this resistance. You know, we didn't try to support. How strong is it? Can this be the floor? You know, well, we didn't ever test it. So we start breaking out, get a news release right here, because the chart's going to come down anyways. You can think what you want, but the chart's going to come back down and test it anyways. So why let it run for another 2 cents or so when you can just go ahead and get it to test it now? It sounds kind of crazy, and I know that there's only like 4 days to release the news, and there's this, but that's how it goes, you know. I don't know how they do it. They're good at it. You know, they know well in advance kind of what their chart's looking at come the end, or come, you know, applying for uplisting, for instance. Okay, they probably put the application in enough time, knowing that the chart would be sitting in a certain range come approval or denial, right? I don't know how, but there's no other explanation for news releases when it comes to investments. There's just no other explanation. News gets dropped right here. I keep forgetting. I don't even on full screen. I gotta put this on full screen. It probably makes it easier to see. That was the news drop. That candle. No news kicked this rally off, but news definitely ended it, and with a massive candle. Here, we didn't have any news to kick us off, but we wasn't out of our current structure before news was released and allowed us to be. So that makes it a little better. Okay, we're not so dependent on these levels at that point, because this was just a random breakout. Maybe not so random, that arc that I showed yesterday and how we broke out of it, and maybe that just kind of caused it, and chart bought itself some room, right? Oops. I can't ever keep this desk cleaned off. So news gets dropped right here. If this is the case, if this stutter signifies, which you can also kind of tell, all right, the 618 kept everything down for the most part. here, the 618 kind of kept everything down for the most part. Now that was obviously behind it, but like you can still get it that okay, this looks pretty good. And this might actually be it. This might actually be the top where it crosses 1.618, but doesn't clear it. These candles stay below it, and these candles stay below it. Once we pass, once we couldn't clear the 1.618, we immediately dropped 0.854. We'll look at here, immediately dropped to 854 when we would stay north of it. Let me turn on the 1 on this. I don't know why that goes away. I mean, it just goes away sometimes. I swear it does. But it settles right at, right at the 1.0. And this kind of just, it settles right there at about the 1.0. But we did come down, we did go back up and retest this 1.236, kind of like this. All right. I don't think that was it. That's not enough to prove a resistance and keep us from breaking it. So I do think that was just an extra that this one didn't have. And we'll still have our other one, which if time kind of ends up the same, would really be around tomorrow or opening bell on Friday. I don't foresee that to be the case. I mean, it could be. It could be. Tomorrow, Friday, I expect to be at this 0.0175 level, which is my pivot level. All right. If we was to cross 0.0175, then this entire idea or prediction goes out the window. We cannot cross 0.0175 for this scenario to still play out, right? This is the scenario I want to play out because we're the closest on time frame of testing this level that I want to test, right? We can 0.0145, 0146, somewhere in there. I'm going to say 0145 because it'll wick down past it. So right there, let me an 0145 to, let me do another one. 0.0153. It's kind of a range, but that's where I expect the back test to happen, with my target being at 0.015. All right, that's my target. But I expect the back test to take place anywhere in this level. Once it does that, so you can see here too, it hit this 1.236, it came down and bounced off the 0.702. So if it does that, it comes down and it bounces off the 0.702. Well, there it is, 0.0153. And you could anticipate some sort of small relief rally above the 0.854 or right at the 0.854. So probably 0.016 because of as significant of a level as that is. Come down, bounce anywhere kind of in here, back up to 0.016, be the moment of truth. And if anywhere in here we haven't had a news release, there's a good chance that we won't cross this level and we will continue playing this structure out. But there's an alternative, so there's another scenario. The scenario that we break 0.0175 tomorrow or Friday. And that scenario just happens to be, turn that one off. Oh, yeah, I forgot. All right, so there's actually one more way we can look at this being the case if this was the actual top like we've shown it, just barely going over the 1.618. So the top and the top. Doing that, it retraced to the 0.5 and reached back up, just settled above the 0.382 for the most part. So this first thing it does, comes down. It actually stops shy of the 0.382. Stops shy of the 0.382. See it playing at the 0.236, playing at the 0.236, and then down to 0.5, down to 0.5, back up 0.382, which is where we are sitting at currently, 0.382. The next move could be straight down to the 0.618. And if that's the case, there it is, 0.0152, which my previous Fibonacci showed 0.0150 to 0.0153, right? Well, that's right there at it. I can actually just turn that back on. $702, 618. Anywhere kind of in this range, right? Anywhere kind of in here is where this could come down to. But then there's this other option, right? There's this other scenario being maybe this move here is just the top of this stutter here, right? And if that's the case, we can expect that we've already hit this retracement because we showed that this retracement came down to the 0.5. Okay, 0.5. We can, we know that this one came down to the 0.5. All right, so Fibonacci's pulled from the high to the low, from the high to the low. Actually, this is kind of the low here. Up, 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 up. There's the low right there. If 0.0175 is broke, it's my opinion that it's because we are, and you can see it here too. 0.0175 gets broke, and it's off to the races. It's just crossing that 702. Here, the 702 isn't until 1.8, 1.9 cents, but at the same time, it's the price levels and the Fibonacci relationship. So we come all the way down, we haven't finished this structure. So we come all the way down. And first, 236 becomes I don't know, man. So you see that, right there, boom, this thing. So this, right there, boom, this thing. So how's that for wording? I didn't know what to go. I couldn't come up with words. So that's how that played out, and that's how this is playing out. Same kind of concept. But if we break that 0.0175, because kind of what we did here, 0.0175, or the 0.018, but it was the 0.0175 that signified that. Here, we know it's about the 0.018 to kind of 8.5, but could very well come back up and hit this, go to set a new high right above the 2.0 Fibonacci, which on this chart would bring us to 2.5 cents. And that kind of makes sense because right here, is a resistance line. So we could come up to that 2.0 Fibonacci like it did here, and that be the end of it, right? Then we retrace to the 0.618 before bouncing back up 2 cents, and then ultimately doing our back test at that point. I don't want that one, obviously. That's going to take a lot more time. It's going to cause a lot more negative sentiment and cause a lot more damage to investors. But either one of these are kind of right there neck and neck on the possibility of which one's going to play out. I'm just leaning towards the first idea, and maybe just because of the hopes of this shorter time frame, but just kind of really, to me, makes a little better sense. I can show you one more thing. Actually, let me change the time frame on here, because I recopied my fractal over, and I ended up deleting it again yesterday. So object tree, using it this way, having our lows already set, you know, it reached out to there, it reached back down to here, you know, just like it did previously. And here we show it breaking up just to the 2.0. I'm showing it break up past the 2.0. All these levels just kind of play out. It would make sense right here, 0145 as a back test, and that was right there in our range. But I feel like if this was the case, we would probably have a little bit lower of a low, right around 0.014. Maybe I think this is where we would find support, and that's where kind of where we would break out of this formation. We would just kind of round it off right there. Come back up, back test it, and we'd be out of there. Hopefully this is the area, no matter which scenario plays out. Hopefully this will be the price area to I didn't just do it. I didn't just do it. Go ahead and veer away from this previous fractal. I really hope that to be the case. But we can ultimately, I mean, we can come all the way back 0.013 again and be just fine. We just can't break not a fraction of a decimal, a millionth of a penny type of thing, break this low. A wick cannot break it. If price level crosses below this for any period of time, for any amount of money, then we will see at minimum 0.0125 play out at absolute minimum before we can find support again. That's pretty much what I've got for you on this video. I really hope that breaks down that structure a little better. Kind of gives you a idea of the price level that I'm looking at, to kind of signify whether we still have another high left in us before the back test, or if we're going to just go ahead and get this thing knocked out. Let me know what y'all think about this little side-by-side comparison. What you think about the audio quality of this video, and please like and subscribe. To add, sorry, we never got the V bottom that I was looking for out of here, which typically consists of a new low. You never have a double tap back test of a previous high, right, without a V bottom to follow, and we didn't have a V bottom. The bottom was already set. V bottom typically consists of a new low. Now that this is already set and we've established new price levels, we could very easily V bottom from this low. So that's why I don't rule out crossing below 0.015. You know, potentially even 0.014 to set that actual V bottom and allow it to kick off. That would be ideal. Like I said, you can't have double tap backtest without a V bottom, and a V bottom always sets a new low. Always sets a new low. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add, and all right, thank you.